Hello and welcome to Gamedec. What is Gamedec? Well, a game deck is part game player, part detective, going into different virtual worlds and solving, from what we saw in the demo, murders, and I would assume other mysteries along the way. It seems quite intriguing. It seems a little bit like Disco Elysium in that it's more about solving a mystery, going down different paths, and it's about trying to put together everything you know to get a coherent storyline, which I quite like. So, we're going to jump right in. There is an introductory video which is going to tell you everything in a much better way than I just did, and then we've got a little bit of character creation before we jump in. So, let's get started. Yes, I only started the game to go in far enough to find out what character creation was.
It's a strange profession, game deck. You're neither a player nor a detective. You know the rules and how people break them. How they leave a digital trail. And there is always a trail. A flaw in the source code. Backdoors used by cheaters. Anonymity skins, used to cover up unpopular activities. All can be found. All can be traced. With a lot of skill and a little bit of luck. Sometimes more than a little. Because there are surprises, even for a game deck. But in the end, you keep your eyes on the prize. This is my story. What's yours?
So, hopefully that answered your questions about the game, because I, after watching that, have absolutely no idea what is going on. I kinda love it though, having absolutely no idea what's happening. We're not really a detective, we're sort of not really a game player, but at the same time, we're going to do the job of both. So, let's get into it. So, welcome to character creation. We're going to change our name. We're going to be called Alpax, if I can spell the name of the channel correctly. Then, we need to choose an origin. We have got low city and high city. I'm assuming high city is going to be the kind of thing where you get along well with law enforcement, you're invited into all the fancy parties. And low city is probably going to be more the, you can speak with the people down on the streets, you know what's going on. Like, this is streetwise versus etiquette-wise, I guess you would say. Let's be low city. Let's try that out. And then values. Now, this is interesting because it gives you a bunch of stats, but it doesn't actually tell you what they mean. I've gone into the game far enough to find out what those are, and here's what they are. So, the first one is red. Red is decisiveness, and it allows you to unlock a job, and jobs in this game give you basically a set of abilities to use. And the job is basically around using force to get different solutions. So, you know, intimidation, beating up people, that sort of stuff. That's all going to be under red. The next one we got is yellow. Yellow is creative, and it leads you down a charismatic path where you can talk to people, people want to talk to you, and that kind of works quite well into what I'm looking for, something a little bit more talking to people, getting them to, you know, slowly open up, because I feel like that's the best way to find out about the world, so that's cool. The next one we have is blue. Blue is analytical, which is also the tech tree, as in going into machines and tinkering around with them, going into databases, finding out all the info that you can in the back end. That's all in blue. And from playing the demo, that seems fairly involved, so it could be cool to do. And then the other one is green, sociable, which leads you down a doctor tree. So being able to talk to people, get them to open up about their problems, I guess, and then kind of heal them, I guess, is doctor, but then also on top of that, being able to do autopsies and all that sort of stuff. That's all under green. So, I'm thinking I want to be more yellow-blue. So, let's see. Do we have one of these that's yellow-blue? Hedonism. That's not quite how I describe what we're going for. That wouldn't be described as my values. Do we have one that sounds better? Conformity. Let's be real, that's probably more where I'm gonna lie normally. Yeah, no, I think we're going hedonism. And then we have to choose how we look. And it's just basically a bunch of set characters. I don't know, we could be default man. Oh, he looks a lot older in this one than he does in that one. How about default man? Yeah. Okay, that's younger default man. He's got a beard. Let's just go through some of the others. Okay, he seems reasonable. Oh, okay. Got a little bit of style going on. So is there just one sort of jacket for everyone? I'm just curious. Oh, okay. No, there isn't. You can go full colorful if you want to. Cool. I think this is the one that was in the beta. Yeah, I think this is the one that was in the beta. Or was it this one? It might have been this one. Anyway. Was this in the head? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that just weird tech stuff, or is that actually something else? Like maybe a neural link of some kind? I don't know. I'm just using words that sound like technobabble, because they are technobabble, but anyway. We're going to be this dude, I think. Yeah, that's who we're going to be. Let's go. Right, so we're loading into our apartment. I didn't remember why I had become a game deck. At some point, I must have decided it was a reasonable way of making money. Then I just got used to it. Okay, so there's going to be dialogue options in this game. There's going to be a lot of dialogue options in this game, and if we want to see previous dialogue, we click that. So we can go up here and go like, oh, here's the previous dialogue. Oh, it also tells you what information unlocks from it. That's cool. Yeah, we might read that in a bit. Let's recall our career. I solved numerous cases, so people started to believe I was credible, and credibility was crucial in my line of work. Pretty much everything can be falsified, but you can't fake credibility. Games, besides being my workplace, also became my second home. Did I ever play for fun? Yes, sometimes I did. So did that unlock more stuff as well? Yes, it did. Oh, cool. So going through some of the side dialogue that doesn't seem to unlock things for any particular reason might unlock some extra codex information. Let's look around. I was surrounded by the real world, that is, Relium. I could hear Warsaw City humming outside the window. I lived in Tower Stone in Wola. So that is Relium. So is this actually the real world, or is this like a virtual world that everyone's agreed is the place that they're going to call the real world? That's what I want to know. It was the end of the 22nd century and people were crazy happy. Kidding. Some were, some weren't. Which group did I belong to? I wasn't sure. Alright, let's start our day. It was time to check if there were any new jobs. So this is us up and about. We can move around. You can change the movement speed by clicking tab. These are different things we can interact with. So we can talk, we can look at something, we can tinker with something. And then you can see with different people, like on this one, you could talk to the person, or you could try and see if you can do some tech stuff to the person who's lying down. Alright, let's have a look at our codex first. Ooh, wow. So in the demo, a lot of this was like, it just said locked for the demo. Looks like there's going to be a ton more than there was then. Alright, let's have a look at Virtulium. The Gamedec verse webpage. Okay, so do you want to know the Gamedec verse world better? Are you interested in news, updates, and gossip? Visit gamedecverse.com. Okay, I'm assuming that's a meta one, as in we could literally go there right now. Game decks. Galahad on game decks. Cal, one more stupid question. Shoot. What do you think about game decks? I think it's a fun but completely unneeded profession. A blown-up nothing. Redundant. Oh, Frank, I disagree. Being a game deck is a sensible profession. But when something bad happens inside a game, it's easier to just pop up the hood and take a look inside and see what's wrong. Such problems should be handled by programmers, analysts, not game. And that's where you're wrong, Frank. Just like my mom when she added cocaine to the cake instead of baking powder. She did that? Yeah, in real life too. What a woman. But let's cut to the chase. Games are complicated, right? Right. AIs are watching over them, right? Right. The number of Cheetong characters composing them is so great no one person could ever know the whole program. of even the simplest game, right? I'm not sure about that one. Frank, in my brain, there's 100 billion neurons. In yours, there's half of that. And every neuron has 10,000 junctions on average, synapses. And multiply 100 million by 10,000 and you will get a 1 and 15 zeros. It's called a quadrillion. So, your helmet controls a quadrillion synapses. Now, take a game like Crying Guns, where there are 50,000 players on a single server. 50 times a quadrillion gives you 50 trillion variables per second. 50 times a quadrillion gives you 50 trillion variables per second. Oh, okay. So in my mind, I was thinking, should that not be quadrillion? But no, per second, I think is the bit I'm missing. Anyway, whatever. Back to the story. And that's just controlling the brains of the people playing the game. When you add there's stimulation, neural impulse control, response control, creation of the world with the whole sensory report, i.e. picture, sound, smells, flavors, temperatures, you're going to get a factor multiplying all that by another million. Around 50 septillion variables per split second. That's a lot. You're fucking right, that's a lot, Frank. We're talking about one server in the living organism of a game adapting to the situation on a battlefield in a simple sensory world based on battles and clans. Can you imagine the array of this world? No. So now imagine that someone throws a cheat in there. Find it. Impossible. Order an AI to find it when the person who implemented it made it so that the AI can't define it. That's possible. It's easier than you think. Now, how do you find that cheat? I don't. Exactly! You won't find it by browsing the code, but a Gamedec will. How? Gamedecks usually don't know about programming, at least not at an expert level. Gamedecks don't browse the code, they look for people who implemented the cheat and ask them, or nicely ask them to remove it. Oh. Gamedecks handle people, not code. They observe, draw conclusions, deduce, and analyze. They need three things: to know about games, to know about people, and to have a high IQ. They examine the problem like birds flying over a labyrinth. You're stuck in that labyrinth, running in circles, so you outsource, you call a Gamedec. They come, take a look around, analyze, and find the problem. Bingo! And then they say the famous Gamedec catchphrase, detection ends case. Interesting. So Gamedecks are there to go and solve people or find people who are cheating in games, and they're needed because the games are so complex that you couldn't possibly figure it out any other way. Okay, that's kind of intriguing. Now, what was interesting in here was actually this bit right here where she said he was talking about adding cocaine to the cake, right? And she did that in real life too. So does that imply, well, obviously real life 2 must be another virtual world, but again, maybe that implies that the real world we're in here is yet another virtual world. That's my current theory. Anyway, we can't access the dark web yet. Technologies. So devitalization. Devitalization is a process generated by a player's helmet. It is responsible for activating a game pill. It's similar to the natural process of falling asleep generated by the pawns. It entails disconnecting the brain's motor and sensory centers from the rest of the real body. Thanks to this, a player can move the limbs of his or her character in Virtualia and receive digital sensory stimuli, and at the same time lie still on a couch and feel no real stimuli. Okay, so no, real world is real. Got it. The only muscles that are not devitalized are the ocular muscles. The same exact exception occurs during sleep. This phenomenon can be observed in the REM, rapid eye movement, sleep phase. Okay, cool. Sensing. The communicators of the late 22nd century ensure visual, sound, thermal, and olfactory contact. This conglomerate of sensual modulities is called sensory connection or sensing. A computer user connecting to a user of the same device has access to 4 sensory representations but does not have to use them. Users often turn off the olfactory and thermal channels. Owners of newer walktails have access to optical, auditory, and limited olfactory channels, just like omnic owners. The owners of the newest temple obecoins can take advantage of this amazing quality of all channels, as obecoins send sensations directly to the interpretive areas of the brain. This makes them better than computers. Okay, so some people are able to sense things better? Okay, thanks to their communicator. Rendan. Rendan, digital brain, a device shaped like a real brain and emulating all of its functions with the ability to create new synaptic connections. Rendans have both a neural network and a network of all classes of the glial cells found in organic brains. A Rendan can be based on a psychoscan of a living person, which makes it able to store a psyche identical to that residing in the original brain, or a psyche transferred from an original brain, or it can be developed artificially from the ground up, see Pygmalion technology, to hold a new, previously non-existent psyche. This is how diginets are created. Oh, okay. So this sounds like it might be leading into similar territory as something like Altered Carbon, where people who were richer were able to store copies of themselves. So I'm assuming that might come up. I would be very unsurprised if we find a murder and we can talk to the murder victim's past or something like that. Organizations. The Blue Whales Initiative. Pygmalion, create a human being. Welcome, fan of Paradise Beach and other Blue Whales interactive games. Admit it, you've had a crush on many of our NPCs, and now you can give them life. Yes, BWI has developed a human creation technology. We can upgrade the AI of any character that you choose to the level of the human mind. And there's more. You can create a human psyche from the ground up according to your preferences. The person you created will have a personal Rendan, a unique mind, a personal IN, a college degree, and civil rights. Do you feel like a god now? You should. Creation is in your hands. I don't know how I feel about that. So you're creating a human designed to be your romantic partner, and the person will have like many things, including civil rights. That's a very weird concept. Alright. That's incredibly weird, and I need some more time to process. Alright, Relium. What is Relium? Why Relium? Relium. We all use this word when we refer to the reality around us, but not many of us think about where it came from, Professor. Good morning to you, sir, and good morning to the audience. The word Relium was, paradoxically enough, created by gamers. How so? Aren't they opposed to the concept of realistic reality? That's why they call it Relium instead of reality, and we've adopted the word from them. So what's the meaning behind this term? According to hardcore gamers' philosophy, it's just another sensory world. Just another game. But Professor, I know what you want to say, Relium is not a game. But is that really the case? You work in Holovision. Make money, use it to buy food, pay rent, is that not a sim? Well, basically, if you keep improving, you'll be promoted to a higher position and get paid more, correct? Yes, so it's an RPG. There are a lot of people around us. They're all using the same location, are they not? Of course. So you could say it's a massively multiplayer online game. Indeed. Where's the difference then? Well, it's in the consequences. I can't save my game in Relium. You do that when you go to sleep. But I can't stop playing in Relium. Bingo. That's basically the only difference. There's no logging out from this game. Besides, the vast game offerings include those that are practically identical to our reality, like Novatronic's Brahma, to name one. So gamers were right to give the Relium moniker to reality? When you look at it from their perspective, yes, and besides, it's such a nice word. Okay, so people have got... The games have become so real that they're indistinguishable from real life in a way, apart from the fact that you can't log out. So Relium is kind of just a concept of, well, it's just a sim. Or, instead of that, you could potentially opt out, plug yourself into one of these machines, go into a virtual world, and yeah, just live there instead. Huh. Interesting. The end of the 22nd century. Contemporary times. Oh, these all appear to be talking to the same professor. Cool. Professor, if you were to discuss the most important characteristics of our times in the contemporary technology, what would you talk about? First of all, about the rebellion of nature. We're living in cage-like cities that are separated from the aggressive ecosystems by ABBs. Without them, we would be doomed. Well, that's the first component. What about the others? Anti-G technology is the only thing that lets our towers be so tall, and the walkways between them so dense, and of course the fact that both freight and human transport is done only by air. What else? I'm not really sure. Perhaps Virtualia, hundreds of thousands of games and hundreds of millions of players. A kind of escapism specific to the late 22nd century. A lot of people pretty much live online. Are you talking about Zoenets? They have no choice, or at least they didn't until the first Mobriums were made. I'm talking about the players who seem to consciously choose a life online and neglect their existence in Velium. Is that all? All the major things? Yes, I think so. And what about the historical events that had the biggest impact on the current reality? Probably the ones no one remembers today. Which are? The rebellion of nature in the late 2070s, the start of the IT era around the same time, which produced the ban on recording information on material carriers, the development of the ABBs, the establishment of the Mutation Control Center, and the Outrangers organization. That was all around the same time, right? Yes, in the late 70s. Then we had the great temporal crash of 2120. Only most likely of 2120 because de facto, yes, we're not quite certain as to the year because everyone was sick with TRID. Let's remind our viewers what the name is short for. Time Recognition Impairment Disease. That was caused by the RAC5 virus. The pandemic caused people to lose track of time and the ability to identify what was when, led to chaos, rioting, millions of victims. And then came the era. Yes, the rejuvenation era. That's when everyone said, excuse my language, screw it all. We had a cultural rejuvenation. The most characteristic thing about those times was the first and last name revolution, driven by Jenglish, Global English, which was on the rise at the time since there were living more in city countries than actual countries. The citizens of Earth decided to create new last names, new object names, and started to dress like they wanted to, and not as dictated by current fashions. Today you can hear Miss Lilith Ernal in Eaton sex commercials, or watch a reality show with Torkil Imor and Pauline Im. Before the rejuvenation era, names such as Ernal, Im, or Imor didn't exist. But Professor, these are ancient events. The rejuvenation era was 80 years ago. Has nothing happened since then? No, not too much, though perhaps the accelerated technological development. What about the immigration to Gaia? We have the first terraformed planets in the Sigma Draconis system. Right, I forgot all about it. Forgot, Professor? I also forgot about the BLB technology. That was certainly a breakthrough. It makes people immortal. Only the richest people. Well, the upper middle class. This is why there are more demonstrations, especially in the lower layers of the polis. What about the Pygmalion technology, human creation? It seems that we are living in times so complex there is no way to cover everything in a single conversation. Okay, so this is where the game got very weird, and I want to know more about this. So, at some point around 2120, a lot of people just simply lost track of time. Like they just, nobody really knows what happened then. And then there was huge technological advancement. Yeah, okay. And there was a rebellion right before it, and there was, of nature. So nature's kind of taken over. Everyone's living in very tall cities. Probably not a lot of room, and then they're escaping to virtual worlds. Just incredibly weird as a setting. I want to know more, and I assume that we will. Alright, Warsaw City. The roof of the Undercity is one of my favourite spots. Even though I'm standing on one of the lowest walkways in Warsaw City, I feel like I'm on top of a mountain. Below me is a 50-meter long gaping abyss stretching over the seemingly endless ruins of old Warsaw. A ground cleaners company, Cyclops, chugs away in the distance, clearing rubble from old blocks of apartments. If you look hard enough, you'll notice bonfires made by savages among the dust and fog. I can hear the humming of a nearby MCC beacon standing guard and watching over me. Yes, the ROU is definitely one of my favourite spots. And then we can learn about High City, the unofficial name for the highest levels of a polis. High cities feature walking platforms, flying junks, and the densest networks of new mobile routes, it's become customary to believe that high cities end at the level where the highest reaching routes of the public transportation tubes are located. So if you live up in the top of the city, you also get to travel around more easily in the real world, while everyone else is a little bit trapped. And then that was the gossip there. Okay, did any of the other ones have a secondary thing? Just want to check. You did not have a secondary thing. You do not have a secondary thing. Nope. 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 I think I would have noticed it. That's the Gamedec verse site, which I assumed will tell you more about this world. Alright, that's a lot of stuff that we've been through so far. Deduction. The main nodes are questions that are a key part of your deduction process. Your task is to gather information and choose the answer to each deduction node based on that information to unlock the following node. Repeat the process until you reach the final conclusion. So you'll get something like, you know, person was murdered. Then it'll be like, who murdered them? Why did they murder them? Where did they murder them? How did they do it? And you create your path through there, and then you can get to your conclusion. And then you could be like, well, if this person murdered them, then they couldn't have killed them here because they were currently somewhere else. And they kind of lock out other choices. So you have to kind of deduce that way. We'll get more into that as we actually get some sort of mission. And then aspects. So aspects are a part of Gamedec's personality expressed through actions, thoughts, and emotions. Be kind to gain the empathy aspect. Inspire someone to gain inspiration. And then these are the groups. So they're decisive red, analytical blue, creative yellow, and sociable green. Aspects are used to unlock professions. Hold down the left mouse button on a chosen profession to unlock it. Professions unlock special conversation options, enabling you to do more. Hover your cursor over the profession, to see what it does. Each profession requires a different personality. The description will indicate which aspects unlock a given profession. A profession will be highlighted if you have the required aspects. So what we could do now, because we got some points, is I could be like, hey, I want to be an infotainer because I have enough charisma. Or it could be like, I want to be a glazier because I know about technology. I think this is where I want to go. So you know where to look for power nodes, cables, and virtual developer stacks. You can open them, hack them, and change their settings. Sounds very intriguing. I'm going to unlock skill. So what does that do now? So I assume that now means I can unlock the next skill. And it spent my points at the side. Cool. Awesome. So we now are able to do something, I guess. It did say open conversation option, so I assume that at some point we're going to get a conversation where it says, you can do this. Anyway, let's look at our window. Oh, new data. Warsaw City, my polis. Look out the window. Walkways, squares, space, and chasms. That's what modern cities look like. The middle layer, mid-city. Hey, I said I wanted to be a mid-city person, didn't I? I meant to say it anyway. There's only low and high. I felt like I would be more of a mid, but we've gone with low. Despite dense developments, you could still see the sun and pieces of the sky, as well as the long way down. Nice view. I felt a connection with the people above and below. I could hear the transit tubes, new mobiles, the humming ads. It was never quiet, and I just saw we got an ad outside. This is where the rich meet the poor, and the light meets darkness. This is where the layer of the city. This is the layer of the city where you can be pretty much whoever you want, and where advertising drones peep through people's windows looking for new victims. Ooh, I can use my new thing to send it away. I once installed a gadget in the window that disrupts the sensors of such invaders. All it took was a short signal. The drone received an error message that made it return to the shop for inspection. Nice. What did we learn about? Pneumobile, a flying passenger vehicle. The name is derived from the Greek word pneuma, meaning air or breath, and the Latin word mobilis, meaning mobile. The first machines, as well as the term pneumobile, were introduced in the 2080s by the Mobilinium company, whose directors wanted the new vehicle to have the word mobile in its name. The introduction of flying passenger vehicles was made possible thanks to anti-G technology, the patent for which is kept secret by Mobilinium. Oh, cool. And then we got some more about Velium. So Warsaw City. Do we have anything? It says we have new gossip. Oh, we have I see. We have a new one here as well. What's your favorite thing in our polis? What's your favorite thing in Warsaw City? The towers. Ah, there are towers in every polis. Then the ring of skyliners around the city. Other polis have that too. Then the ABBs behind the skyliners. Don't make me laugh, there are no cities without ABBs. The air walkway system. Numobiles. They have them everywhere. Alright, the Undercity, the ruins of Old Warsaw under the Low City. You win. Finally! Just kidding, every polis on Earth has that too, they're all standing on the ruins of old cities. Actually what you like in Warsaw City, specifically. By specifically, like all that stuff. You're lying! I know what you like, and what's only found here? Well, the milk bars! You like milk bars, the pierogi temples that hang all over the towers. Oh, that's right. You know it better than I know myself. The milk bars, of course, pierogi. Okay. What an odd conversation. So we have the polis, from the Greek polis, fortified site, an enormous city. Aside from bioestates, polis are the only human settlements on Earth. They are made up of thousands of high towers, even several kilometers tall, connected with walkways known for their arch design. Construction of polis began in the middle of the 2070s. They rose from the ruins of enormous cities. Now they are usually surrounded by a ring of skyliners and hidden behind ABBs. And then we can guess what skyliners are. Skyliners are tall, taller than towers located inside the polis. Semi-suspended buildings that surround cities. They are reinforced by lines flexed to support satellites. Said lines are manufactured and patented by the Mobilinium Corporation. Okay, cool. Wait, did that unlock a new thing in there, or is that... No, it's a subpart. Okay. Oh, wait, no, we already learned about skyliners. Cool. That's kind of neat. Right, let's head out here. So now we've looked out the window. Is there like a show everything you can examine button? I assume not, by the fact that I haven't found it yet and it didn't tell me about it. Oh, everything is already here. That's okay. Let's do a little wander around, see if we got anything over this way. We have our couch. A virtual couch. Not the newest model, but I can still rely on it. At least, I think I can. A poet would call it a gateway to the sensory worlds. To me, it's just a tool of my trade. Check the couch log. July 17th, 2199. 3:30 PM. My last session took... The couch displayed an error message recommending to reset it to default settings. The model's reliability had become questionable. The couch reset to its default settings, which means the logs were deleted. Oh, profession. So we've got profession one here. Okay. It was time to consider trading it in for a newer model. Let's report the defect. The couch reverting to its default settings was alarming. My health depended on it working. Someone needed to take a look at it. Fortunately, every couch had a sensor. Technical assistance required. I just needed to touch it and confirm. It read, "Thank you for your report. We'll get back to you within a few days." Let's check the fluid level. Fluid levels were low. I still had a few tanks left, but it's always good to have reserves. Let's order some more. Done. The delivery drone will be here in a few hours. Look at the helmet. It was starting to fall apart. I needed to replace it. Damn it, such an important gear wouldn't come cheap. I couldn't afford it at the moment. I needed a few jobs first, or one big job that paid well. Okay, I checked everything. We got a little bit more information. We're going to get a lot of information up the, at the front of this game, I'm guessing. And then as we go further in, I assume we get less and less information because we already know it. Sensory worlds. Sensory worlds, the official name used to describe virtual realities, usually games accessed through game peripherals such as helmets, couches, suits, and substances like infusion fluids and game pills. Helmets. The helmet may not seem like a spectacular piece of tech, as it's smaller than a couch or a suit, but it's still the most important one. The helmet is responsible for devitalization and revitalization. The helmet lets the game inside your head. It monitors the sensory gates, it lets you smell and touch the game, move inside it, jump and run while your body remains motionless in reality. And this is the tech that makes sure you don't feel any pain in games when you're not supposed to and suffer when you're supposed to, but only within the limits established by the game's manufacturers. A good helmet makes sure that your senses are still in place when you awaken to keep you from turning into a synesthete. Smells should be smells, not colours, and colours shouldn't be singing. To prevent disturbances in your deep senses, so you don't feel, e.g., like your arms are growing out of your thighs, and so on. There is no equipment where you can save. There is no equipment where you can save when it comes to serious gaming. But if you really need to cut some expenses, buy a cheaper couch and a better helmet, and never the other way around. Yeah, you don't want to be waking up with weird stuff happening to your brain. Kind of makes sense. Couches and suits. Want to be a good player but still maintain good physical and mental health? This article's for you. A player's equipment includes a computer, couch, suit, and link ID I assume that's meant to say oh. That's meant to be a link to the helmet like this. I understand. The gaming chemicals include the game pill and Nutrifluid, but that's a story from a different post, as is the helmet. It's really important. Let's start with the computer. All it needs to be is fast and reliable, so no cheap components and definitely no illegal antivirus software. Firewalls and antiviruses are the first and main measures of security for your couch and helmet. Don't spare any expense. We recommend Graphite 5.0 and the dependable Thyssen 10. It may be expensive, but it's worth every credit. Next, the couch. Many gamers overestimate it, believing that it is the heart of the tech. This is mainly because the couch is big. Most models satisfy the requirement of contemporary gaming, although budget ones may not prevent bed sores from intensive multi-day sessions, and may also produce excess or insufficient heat. We do not recommend any low-city contraptions either. Choose a brand name couch offered by an authorized dealer. We also don't necessarily agree with the ad slogans of manufacturers who recommend purchasing all your tech from a single brand. You don't need to do that. All interfaces are standard and support one system, so don't give us that nonsense. The suit. This suit is what protects your body from the outside. Suits are complex and much more advanced than the overestimated couches. The suit controls your body temperature and together with the couch prevents bed sores, but its most important function is to prevent muscular dystrophy and keep your motor system in relatively good condition. Let's not kid ourselves. No professional gamer will ever turn into an athlete. His osteoarticular system is rigid and fatigable, but it is still not deformed. If you buy a budget suit, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. Get ready for a stiff back, muscle and joint pain, dystrophy and contractures. You've been warned. Gaming tech taken seriously. Alright, I've been warned. Game pill and Nutrifluid? Gaming chemicals is the common term to describe Nutrifluid and game pills. Want to learn more about them? Nutrifluid is your nourishment for the duration of your gaming session. Don't be cheap. Buy fluids only from the proven brands. You must know that you really need more food and water a day than these cans can provide. Everything inside is concentrated, and only the suit and game pill prevent you from losing as much water as you would in Relium. Remember to always play in your suit, and don't forget your game pill. We recommend safe foods and good ratio. The game pill. The smallest and probably most important character in your gaming adventures. Take a game pill if you want to go online for more than just a few hours, and definitely take one if you intend to stay online for more than half a day. The little capsule contains billions of nanobots that do the impossible. They shift the metabolic tracts of your body so you don't have to worry about your bladder or large intestine. The game pill is activated by devitalization and deactivated by revitalization, so you don't need to worry about not going to the bathroom for the next 3 days after waking from a long session. A game pill must be genuine and certified. We know there are plenty of manufacturers offering the same thing for less. Trust us, they're not the same thing. Okay, so a lot about the sensory worlds. Is there anything else in here we need to learn about? No. What is Deotron? Have you heard about Deotron? Frank, if you've been drinking, I hate it when someone hits the booze. I won't say they did, and then they talk crap. I didn't hit the booze, I'm asking you about the Deotron, Cal. Then I'm gonna hit the booze, because you're asking me about the most absurd urban legend ever, man. Ever. But why do you think, dude, watch my mouth, Deotron is a super couch, the kind that gamers and Gamedec's use, but it's super couch according to some stupid spoof. It doesn't transfer you to the network. Well, Frank, to be honest, it can transfer you to the network, but above all, let me finish, Cal, above all, it's a tool for creating reality. Right, so it's bullshit. How can a super couch create reality, Relium? It's some new kind of religion. Wizards have magic wands and modern gamers have Deotrons. I've heard that super couch is out there, and whoever lies on it, they can do anything with the world. Yes, lovely story, Frank. Actually, it's kind of cute. I take back what I said before. But seriously, you lay down on the Deotron, and what do you do first? I make you disappear, Frank. Okay, so there might be a couch out there that lets you change Relium? Maybe Relium is fake. Alright, what else have we got in here? What am I missing? I think I got everything, actually. Yeah, I've been through everything now. Alright. Check your email on your computer. I'll get to it, but first I need to check this coffee machine. Oh, sorry, the control panel for the apartment's AI. A fine piece of software that didn't treat fridge contents as its first priority. You can also talk to it. Its name is Bliss. That's the default name, and I never bothered to change it. Let's analyze the system. BWI had been developing AI modeled after the human psyche for quite some time. Even the holographic visualizations looked like brains. Everything seemed fine, but it shouldn't have. There was a surge or a failure in the tower. It should have left a sign, but there was nothing. The software truly looked like I was activating it for the very first time. It made no sense. Let's activate it. A logo with 2 whales appeared on the panel. Thank you for purchasing a product manufactured by Blue Whales Interactive, the leader in the field of AI. BWI, never alone. You are activating Bliss for the first time. First, configure the software to your liking. I cursed. Something had reset my settings. This had also reset. Intriguing. Probably another failure in the tower or a surge upstairs. I had to reconfigure everything again. Let's check the logs. There was nothing in the system. Logs of previous activations and conversations would be in the cloud, provided they existed. Probably somewhere on the Blue Whales Interactive servers. Too high a bar for me. You had to be a real magician to access them. Casual conversation? A holographic figure appeared in the air. Hello, my name is Bliss. What do you want to talk about? Hi. Wait, what do you mean? Don't you remember me? Why does everything break all the times nowadays? Okay, interesting. We'll leave Bliss alone. Holovision? Oh, it's the television. Oh, cool. Warsaw City News, the latest domestic and international news all day long. Today is Monday, July 17th. My name is Carla Kulumna, and this is the news. Ken Zhao, the young star of Goodabads, loses the game miserably. Zhao blames everything on glitches in the game. Could this be the end of the youngster's career? Alright, that's enough of that. We got more? We have Bliss. Manufacturer's commercial. Major Dormo. Administrator, house manager, friend, a confidant. Maybe something more? The world's racing forward and you need to keep up. New products and trends are coming out every day, but you have your house, shopping, updates, home network management, calendar. How do you manage all that? And don't forget that lonely feeling when you return home. Let's not kid ourselves, the world's gone crazy. We're surrounded by singles, families are out, and packs are in. Where is humanity headed? Blue Whales Interactive has the answers. Maybe not to all the questions, but at least to many of them. We have the answer that will be your blessing. Bliss. It can be a man, a woman, or something in between. Bliss will take care of your home shopping, appointments, upgrades, and most importantly, of you. Bliss will talk to you when you're lonely, be quiet when you want to think, entertain you when you feel sad in the big city, and intrigue you when you need inspiration. Bliss offers 4 different personalities: analytical for those who like intellectual challenges, confrontational for those who like some friendly disputes, empathic for people who need someone to take care of them, and entertaining for those who want someone to raise their spirits. Pick one and watch Bliss grow, see your relationship develop, and witness the creation of amazing events unplanned by the developers. Bliss, a blessing for your troubles. Blue Whales Interactive, never alone. So this is one of the things that can be turned into a full-blown, like, what were they calling it? A human creation? Something like that? Does it not seem a bit weird to bring something into creation to do your home network management? Like you bring something into creation, you let it, like, you let it understand the world, and then you're like, all right, your one job is to sit in this device and do home network management. This seems like it's just asking for problems. Anyway, Virtulium, Goodabads, the championship. Enough about crying guns, Ted. Let's move on to Goodabads. Steffi, I knew you were going to bring up that bloody sport. There's no bleeding involved. But there's suffering, Steffi. Suffering! And that's the beautiful part. The ribbon of the Hammerfield scale unfolding over the tortured. The knowledge that the damage points inflict real pain. That 10H hurts like surgery without anesthesia. With 20 being nigh inconceivable. Do you see them as gladiators of the 22nd century? Of the end of the 22nd century, yes, they're real heroes, and they're also a lot of female players. That's because women are more resilient. That's cheating. But still, there's only one human being, and a man for that matter, capable of taking a 20. Yes, Peter, crash kites. We were supposed to move on to the game, Steffi. That's right! In keeping with the Saturday custom, the 7th Heaven Arena will be the venue for a clash between the winged demons of the Black Tridents and the archangels from the Roaring Wings. The only cover comes in the form of clouds and stronghold walls. It looks like we're in for a bloodbath. Ted, I told you, there's no bleeding. Alright, interesting. Technologies. AI. Artificial intelligence is everywhere around us, in customer support specialists, in guides that show us around museums, even in obacoins who speak to us as caring illusions. People often mistake AIs with actual humans. Why is it like that? Let's hear what Professor Tatiana Sevchenko from the Warsaw School of Applied Psychoneurology has to say about this. Professor? Artificial intelligence simply did not exist in the environment in which Homo sapiens developed. Therefore, we have no choice but to anthropomorphize the bots that smile at us. When we see lively facial expressions, we automatically assume that they're the results of emotions and intentions. That's why we treat AIs like humans. However, there is a profound difference between a human and an artificial intelligence pretending to be one. Is it really that profound? Oh yes. Would you care to? Yes, I'll explain. Humans are self-aware beings. They know they exist. It doesn't matter whether you're an organic Zoenet or a Diginet. That is, whether you have a full body, only a brain, organic or synthetic, awareness of your own existence is extremely important. Does that mean that even the most advanced artificial intelligence is not aware that it exists? From a metaphysical point of view, it does not. And that means when you look at your hand, your leg, or your reflection in the mirror, you think, I am. Artificial intelligence won't do that. But AIs have sensory organs. They see with cameras, listen with sensors. Which constitutes the next major difference. What is that? Imagine being in a completely soundproof room with no windows. Inside there are huge books with instructions. If a card with a specific Chinese sign slides into the room through a special slot, you need to respond with a different specific sign from the thousands also stored in the room. Should we assume that I don't know Chinese? Correct, you don't know what the characters mean. Suddenly, 3 cards with 3 signs slides into the room. You suspect there are people outside, you can't hear or see them. You look at the signs, memorize the order in which they slid inside, then browse the instructions and realize that such Chinese sentence or word, you cannot tell which it is, has 10 different possible responses. Since you have no idea what they're asking you, or even whether they're actually asking or just saying hi, you pick randomly and answer with a sequence of signs of your choice. The people outside, they might be amused or they might be outraged, they might nod, you won't see that. The answer with another 10 signs and you browse the instructions again and respond accordingly. With no clue about the meaning of the words I answer to or with? Yes, after years of these conversations you memorize most of the instructions and you're able to quickly respond to all sorts of sequences of signs, but you still have no idea what you're talking about. Very interesting. This is the so-called Chinese room, a thought experiment which demonstrates how artificial intelligence works. Their facial expressions, tone of voice, words, and gestures are just cards they slide through a slot without realizing what they mean. They're nothing more than memorized patterns of response to the cards we slide into their room, that is, our words, gestures, and faces. Unfortunately, artificial intelligence does not assign meaning to the words it utters or gestures it performs, neither does it understand what we say. Somehow that's scary. Sadly, AIs are nothing more than the Chinese rooms I described. Incredible. And as we established earlier, they don't even know they exist. Okay. So, how? It's obviously going to be like there's a tech jump somewhere in here. But how are people making synthetic people, right? Is it saying you can have a brain or only a brain and have it be synthetic? So somehow, the Blue Whales Interactive are actually making creation of people. A human psyche from the ground up, as they put it. Now, is that an AI, or is that something more? I assume there's going to be some of that talking here. Right, well, we've done a lot of talking and a lot of reading. Let's maybe look at our email. My computer. It controlled the couch, communicated with household appliances, let me send messages, and it did everything else. It was a good piece of hardware. I optimized and upgraded it with a robust antivirus suite and the latest drivers. A Gamedec computer. Let's read our mail. A few emails from clients I had helped. I needed to reply to those. We'll reply. First message. Senator Stone was grateful for working out what his daughter was doing in Ghoul Hearts. Reply kind... We could reply kindly or offer a discount. Well, let's just reply kindly. I wrote that I was happy to hear from him and asked how his daughter was feeling. It's good to nurture relationships with clients. I got through the other emails quickly. Some were invitations to events, some were spam. I replied. So I'm just seeing, does that do anything? Ah, so it gave me an aspect of empathy. If I check that now, does that mean... Yeah, you see I got an extra empathy there, which now means we could potentially spend that on something else. Now, we don't have all the other stuff, but that's intriguing that we could do that. Let's check the contracts. Maybe someone took pity on me and offered me a job while I was away in Virtulia. A job, and it was urgent. I have a discreet and urgent matter for you. I'll pay good money. Please get back to me ASAP. Jeffrey Haggis. Alright, Haggis, let's have a chat. Mr. Haggis was worried. I needed to sense him. Hello, Jeffrey Haggis, I got your email. Oh, you there? Please come see me. Blue Whales Interactive Tower, level 255, south entrance. I'll tell you everything when you're here. Let's inquire about details. Could you tell me some more information? I told you, I need you to get here first. Down payment? Let's be cheeky. Hold on, let's have a little respect for each other's time. I don't know anything about the case, and I'm not sure whether a certain amount... I get it, you want a down payment. I'm transferring it right now. I hope it's enough. Yes? Great, I'm waiting. He disconnected. So there's money, but I don't think we actually have money. It's just kind of a generic, like, thing for us here, I think. New data. So is this a new character? No. Technologies? Types of control. How do you use a walktel? Welcome to the educational holo show into the big wide world. Are you ready to venture into the big wide world, kids? Yeah! Excellent! Today we're going to learn how to use walktels. Do your parents have walktels? And obicoins. And omnics. And walktels too. Excellent! That's true. People also use omnics and obicoins, but today we're going to talk about walktels since it's the most popular media device. Isn't that right, kids? Yeah! In order to use a walktel, we need glasses, lenses. Yes, we need either glasses or lenses. Thanks to them, we can operate the device using different types of... orders? Commands? People use many different names, but generally, dear children, we talk about types of control. I'm sure you've heard that word before. Yes. No. Okay, so we can operate a walktel using 4 different types of control. Classic, fingertip, voice, and mental. I guess now you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Great. Gunther, why don't you tell us what classic control is? It's like when you take, and then you, let me help you, Gunther. We hold the walktel with our hands and touch the screen, just like that, you see? That's how my grandma does it. And my grandpa. Yes, older people often use classic control. Funny thing, their grandchildren tend to pick it up too. Sometimes they get so used to it they continue to prefer classic control as adults as well. We call them old schoolers. Haha! The next type is fingertip control. Can any of you tell me how it works? Me! Hella, why don't you tell us? Well, you tap the walktel, and this window appears in front of you, and only you can see it because other people can't because it's only visible in your glasses. Please don't interrupt, Gunther. Please, Hella, continue. And then, when this window hangs in front of you, you can tap it, and it feels like you've touched something. That's what fingertip control means. Fingertip. The part of your finger that gets all pruny in water. Like prunes, you know? Pruny! That's funny. I think so too. The third type we're going to discuss is voice control. We don't use it very often because we'd have to talk to our walktels all the time, right? Yeah. And then there's the fourth type, mental control. This one is the most difficult because in order to use it we need to send commands to the walktel with our thoughts. It's not very common because it requires lots of practice and concentration. My dad can use it. That's great, Gunther. Please shut up. How about you? What type of control do you use? Classic. Tingerfin. That's excellent, kids. Thank you, everyone, and see you tomorrow at the same time. Are you ready to venture into the big wide world, kids? Yeah. Interesting way to tell us about the control. But okay, so that's how we control things. Relium. Information era. The period that began on the 7th decade of the 21st century and continues to today. The demands of information era include environmental protection and a ban on fixed media storage. Cool. Go to the client. How? Oh, we can leave. Well, let's at least leave the building. Solid doors protected me in my apartment. Maybe they protected Warsaw City from me. Let's go to my client. I have got a job. We're gonna go speak to Haggis. Let's go. The director's office is behind that door. Mr. Haggis is expecting you. Codex. Ah, did you know we can read all the information? I had no idea. This is completely new information to me. And then professions. So we actually got a little bit more in here as well. Okay, but we don't have enough to actually buy anything else. Yeah, nothing else. It looks like you need at least one of everything to get like the first layer of most of these. Yeah, it looks like you do need like the first basic layer, so you kind of want to be splitting what you're doing through these different ones. I'm probably just going to answer whatever I want to, and then we'll get what we get, which seems fair enough. Anyway, I think that this is a good point to end the episode there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribing. All of that really helps the channel grow, and it helps the series grow at the start in this first video. I don't say it again after the first video, so this is the only time I'm going to ask. So yeah, this seems fun. It seems intriguing. It's giving us a lot more information and a lot more context than the demo already, which is helping me a lot understand the world. The demo kind of threw you in without much going on. It kind of just said, hey, here's some concepts, understand them. This one, it's led us in. It's given us codex entries in a sensible order. Yeah, I'm intrigued to find out what our first job is. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.